Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, back to the channel, and we are back where we left off with our German campaign, where we try to be better than Wilhelm. Unfortunately, in the last episode, we have win sums and loss sums. Yes, we won against Scandinavia, against China. However, we lost against pretty much the United States right out the gate. The unfortunate setback will cost us quite a bit of progress and turns. However, we are going to try and quickly recover from this, hopefully, as we try to stem the American tide in Tampa Bay. Hopefully, anyway, we might be able to do so. We will have to hold back against this tide, this next horde, and try to weather the war of attrition. Because that is what fighting America in this mod is fighting a war of attrition. Once you get through the hard shit, the easier shit becomes easier. it really is like that though. But it is what it is. We will try to make do with what we have right now. We need to recover steadily and to, well, trying to pick up the pieces of what happened. So what we learned is that the Americans have definitely, well, slighted me quite a bit. Unfortunately, they had well over more than enough to, well, kick my ass, at least to push me back just a lot. So out of the 9 troops that I had made my landings with, well, only, well, one of them survived. A lone infantry that is badly beaten and battered and unable to do a lot. So, we are going to definitely try our best to recuperate with what we can back on the mainland and try to, well, pick up the pieces. And by picking up the pieces, I mean trying to push out more units, push out more steam transports, because we cannot trust the open sea with our current troop carriers. No, that is rather unfortunate indeed. But we will, regardless, need to make more steam transports anyway, because we will need to exert our power a little bit more. We need more power projection, and we need that extra carrier support to help us in the early run. Yes. Quite so. Quite so. We'll go ahead and destroy this. Destroy the Kearsarge. Leave that transport open for, well, harassment by a, well, I don't think our own steam transport can do much. It'll be funny, but I don't think it will. Let's try it. That's pretty sad. Okay, that's sad. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there was at least one troop division in there that I'm going to just assume so that we can have at least a little bit of a feel-good moment. So right now what we're going to be doing is making our bombardment of Charleston. We're going to be trying to ruin everybody's day. We're going to ruin somebody's day. And we'll head back over to Germany. We're going to convert resources. We're going to keep Hamburg to produce that because that is the best option that I have right now. We'll produce a steam transport in Kalmar. We do have a lot of divisions here that we can use really quickly and have them pretty much ready to go. We'll also convert this over to a steam transport. It would be a waste of shields, but that's fine. It's fine. All we now have to hope is that my corps here can hold the city. We just need to hold Tampa Bay and hold back the tide. As I've said, this has become from an invasion to a, I'm not going to say a desperate defense. However, it has become a war of attrition. And a war of attrition, It's not good. It's just not good. It's not good, but we can hold, and we'll hold as hard as we can. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay provides no value or any type of support, much like a lot of things. It would have been easy if I could have gotten an invasion on the West Coast to completely like tear the invasion in half. That would tear the defense force in half as well. But the unfortunate thing is that I did not have one. So we will make do with what we've got, my friends. We will make do with what we've got. So we will continue to hammer down Boston, at least in an attempt to hold everything. But it looks like Boston has rebuilt its naval base. That's why I'm missing very, very much. They've rebuilt their naval base, and now I have to destroy it yet again. It is what it is. Sigh. It is what it is. Anyway, we are going to be posturing in our colonies against the Portuguese. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell am I posturing against the Portuguese while I'm still at war with the Americans? Well, to simply put, that is going to be the next target, and I want to have at least some bit of preparation to have. All right, with this transport ready, we're going to have him sit here until I can go around. We'll have him move down there. Easy. Relatively. So the next steam transport is there. We'll load that up. We'll load these guys up. Yes, we don't need to have... We can have empty cities, folks. That's fine. The citizenry is not going to be upset because... the reason why they won't get upset is because we have no external threats coming towards that particular location. The Kaiserliche Marine Academy will be built in Troden. I don't know about that. Can I build it in Stettin? Yes, I can, and I can build it in one turn. So what the Marine Academy is pretty much what it says there. It produces Marines after a set amount of time. I thought it said I could. Why is it not? Why does it say it will not? And why does it want to build it in Troden? Trothem. Oh well. I guess I can build it in Trothem. Doesn't really fucking matter, I guess. I guess it really doesn't matter. What it does is it will produce Marines for free, and I can use them to assault city garrisons directly. However, I cannot produce them normally. So I will then do that instead. So these Marines, I cannot produce them like any other troops. They have to be automatically made, which irritates a little bit. Just a little bit. But it's not so much to a degree that it becomes a nuisance, mind you. It does later become a nuisance, but not at the present moment. not at the present moment. So we shall do what we will here. Now the objective is to push the Americas out of their mainland and push them into Hawaii and their overseas colonies. That is the goal, that is the idea. Now, since we have a big mothball navy, like we do now, the American AI doesn't have much of a navy, and it cannot figure out how to approach the Death Stack. Yeah, it doesn't know how to approach the Death Stack, because it knows that if it moves any ships close to that thing, there is a chance that I will turn around and punch it. very hard. So we the AI does have to keep that in mind quite a bit. so so as long as the AI is terrified to fight my death stack, essentially, it is in good hands at the present moment. So we can deal with it as best we can with that knowledge. So we're not going to make the same mistake, and we're going to have more steam transports this time. We're also going to have troops lined up on the coastline to be boarding these ships. We're going to definitely try to take Charleston at the present moment. I think using Charleston would probably be a better staging ground in the end, but holding the line in Boston, at least having that one troop there, does keep the AI thinking that I am still going to try and take Boston. And since they cannot fully heal their troops because of that, they're kind of, well, they're kind of stuck in Boston. So any troops they make now will not go to Boston, but will go to Tampa. And with that going to Tampa, there is a steady stream that is now gone. The bottleneck has been completed, essentially. The sacrifice of my 8 divisions has paved the way for Tampa to be at least a little bit more secure and a little bit more grounded. Unfortunately, that's not going to last long. So I have to ensure that my second wave here does have enough troops and has enough firepower and has enough support to ensure that, well, it can hold, essentially. As you can see, this troop was just probably made in some city. These troops were probably just made in some city and not coming from Boston. But they could definitely be coming from Boston. We do not know. We can't really see because the rail line kind of, prevents that. So now we're on the second American wave. Well, not really a second American wave, more like the third American wave that they're going to be trying to push hard to push me out of Tampa, which they can succeed. Honestly, they can succeed because it is very, very much lightly defended. I didn't really put any extra troops there. I was just doing it to hold it as best I can and as hard as I can. I will be losing Tampa this turn. That I can tell you guys for a fact that I will be losing Tampa this turn, which is unfortunate, but it is mostly the Boston troops that have come down to do it, because it is definitely not the troops they've just made. So it has held its own. We have killed a lot more enemy divisions, but in turn they have destroyed a couple of mine, and a very, very, very tough division at that too. Which blows. Unfortunately, you have to take wins and losses as best you can. American AI is very, 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 very good. And you can tell, like, right now, like, to really tell you how good the American AI is in this mod is pretty much me showing that. They are very persistent. They fight with a horde mentality. They will they will fight to push you out one way or another, even if it is kind of stupid. Even if they do it in a stupid way. But they will now hold Tampa a little harder now because they know it's a weak spot and we have exploited that spot. And now they're going to be bringing in a lot more ships now to try and push out my ships. They are producing, essentially. So we need to pretty much prepare for that. So the next objective right now is to just continuously harass. That is the job right now, is harassment. The more you harass the AI, the more it wants to quit fighting. But with this mod, there is no city trade. So like in normal, in any other freaking version of Civ, you can easily just bully the AI, and I mean really bully the AI into just giving up cities. This, not so much. This mod refuses that. There is a game rule set in place to where it just does not want to do that. So now the AI has a little bit more ships, it has a little bit more navy, it can perform hit and runs, and now what it's going to do is try to, well, stop me. Either by fighting me in direct combat or by bombarding and running. And that's why I said we need to prepare more ships. But here's the thing about bombarding. Naval bombarding is specifically is that it will always aim for ships first, cities second. So, if we can find out where their ships are going, which it looks like it's going into New York, we can park a good many of our ships in New York now, and we can just lay waste. Turn those ships into scrap, and once they run out of naval ships, naval power is reduced, which means we can pretty much tear them apart as much as we want, because there is legitimately no way for them to recuperate at that point. So we will do just that. So we will send their ships into the murky depths below. We will destroy as many of their ships as possible. We got rid of that one. We have the USS Texas already ready to go, and they are going to sink. USS Texas is gone. And now that we know that they're going to New York City to hide, we will just follow them. We will just follow them. And we will prevent any steam transport from really getting very far. So we're going to attack New York City. We're going to have to destroy that naval base in that city. So that way we can attack their ships directly. So we're going to be probing them. Yep, there they are. There's their ships. There they're hiding. That's where they're hiding. Alright, we found out where they're hiding. Okay, let's see. We have that to wait. We'll put a defense. We'll move troops. So invasion forces, when it comes to major powers, what you really want to aim for is the infantry. Now, infantry is not very... It is not a very, very good unit to assault cities with. That is not the goal with infantry. Infantry is a defensive unit. Until you get World War One tech, until you get World War One tech, really, infantry is very... very But once you get everything kind of sorted, you do have a little bit more flexibility. Now, we do have pretty much a big force here, and we're going to be using this force effectively. There's also another reason why I took Scandinavia, is because, well, they can produce ships. Increase naval power by increasing your coastal cities, especially ones that have industry. So we build up shields, we convert them all into ships, and that doubles our fleet capacity by quite a lot. Better than having, what's better than having, 3 industry coastline cities when you can have more. Now, obviously, our Charleston fleet is going to be taking quite a beating because they're producing ships out of New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and they will be out of Charleston. So we need to really, really build up this secondary fleet and make our way quickly. Now, one thing I do like about this versus, Hoi 4 Wave 4 Navy is really good, but I like to micromanage my navies like this, in this type of way, rather than having it the way that it currently is. Not really my favorite. So what we got here? We got a Virginia-class battleship. Now, a Virginia-class battleship is a great deterrent to my Braunschweig. As you can see here, 16 and 20 bombardment, 20 attack, 20 bombard. Not very healthy to try to defend against, but we can hold our own. We will sink these cruisers, and we'll pretty much try to prod them out, essentially. And I think there is no more ships in the city. So we'll move down here to Philadelphia. We'll bombard Philadelphia and see if we have any ships here hiding. We're pretty much hunting ships now. Until our new invasion fleet comes in, we're hunting ships. The good thing about Boston is that they cannot enter the city of Boston. So they cannot hide in Boston. And that is a good thing. And that is a relatively good thing, because you don't want them hiding in Boston. We want to blockade as much as we can, get as many ships as we can to blockade, so that if they try to attack us, like down here in Charleston, they're not going to have any room, essentially. So we, I think, produced enough capital ships. I want to say that we have produced enough capital ships to fortify this fleet as best we can. And we're going to keep harassing. We want to spread the Navy out until our fleets come in. Because the more we harass them and spread out like this, the less likely the AI is going to feel comfortable with trying to send its fleet out. Now, obviously, I cannot stop their Pacific fleet. That is a fleet that I will be, well, unable to contain, in quotes. But I should be able to contain the East Coast fleet. I'm going to have a rite of passage with the Russians because I do not want the Russians to get any cocky ideas. Any ideas of being cocky. Yes, so we will do that. I am too busy. The AI will try to harass me in one way or another, I'm sure. And I cannot destroy that Virginia battle class for some reason. And I will not be able to hit it either. So let's continue harassing Philadelphia. There is a naval base in Philadelphia. That is going to be a big pain in my ass. But yeah, we're on our way to have another invasion force. So this invasion force is not going to hit Boston. I know, shocker. But you said you were going to take Boston. No, the objective was to route them all to Boston. No, the real goal is actually Charleston. Yes, I've changed things up a bit. But in reality, I really wanted to divert as many troops to the north so that I can pin them down. Unfortunately, I do not think I'll be able to pin it down for very long. So, we have to make do. So we're going to have a relatively decent navy. I'm not going to say it's going to be the biggest navy, but it is going to be relatively decent for now. Now, let's look here at our technology real quick, because I need to see what's next. What we need to get is the Deutschland class. The Deutschland class is not necessarily better than the Virginia class, but it is a Virginia class killer. And that's what exactly we need. We need some ship killers and bombarders. Bombardment of sorts. They should be on par with them. So it should not be a big deal. A big deal. It'll be a deal, but not a big deal. So we will hold as best we can. Let's get artillery schools, where it increases the quality of our artillery. All right, that Virginia class is dead, so we will not have to worry about that one. And now we have to worry about bombarding the rest of these cities. Now you could tell that with a good enough spread, it does make it look like I'm hitting them pretty hard. But even though it's not really making scratches or dents yet, because I need ground troops to really make the game change. Regardless, we will do what we can. Naval base in New York has been destroyed. Good signs all around. Very, very good signs all around. So by the next turn, we will be awakening this fleet, and we will be marching, well, sailing, I should say, sailing over to the Americas, and we will be going down the coastline, and we're going to be doing what we can. We'll be doing what we can here. Definitely doing what we can. So, hopefully within this episode, anyway, we can make our return. I don't think we will, but we can. We're gonna have a bigger. We're gonna have a bigger offensive force, but in turn, America's gonna have a bigger defensive force, and they will be waiting. They will be waiting. That is a matter of fact. Honestly, that is a matter of fact. They will be waiting. You can tell here they have a lot of troops being made because of the war, and the longer I've let this war carry on, the more the AI is going to build more troops. The only thing that I gotta worry right now is, well, hoping that I can keep them pinned. Their fleets pinned and their armies pinned down. Now, what I could do is make Austria, don't fucking do that. We just need to hold essentially against their navy that they're slowly producing because the AI is realizing that it's not going to end the war unless it builds a navy. That's just the breaks of the game. I'm going to ensure that it is not going to. Yes, it is not going to be able to hold. So now I do not like what I'm looking at there, but I'm thinking that there is no. I don't think there's any. I hope there isn't any naval infantry because naval infantry will definitely take that city. The Dane Achilles. We don't want that. We do not want that. I keep prodding Charleston just because I want to see if they're actually going to put troops there. Because they're putting troops in their heavy city. They're heavily fortifying these three cities. And they're probably heavily fortifying Washington right now. So they're fortifying these cities and leaving the rest of their cities pretty much vulnerable. Because I know New Orleans isn't protected, Charleston's not protected, Atlanta's probably not either. So we have that to look forward to. So we'll go ahead and make our moves here. And at the end of this turn, we will be taking our mothballed fleet, as we would call it. Not mothball, just our big fleet. We have 20 divisions, and we have a lot of ships here. So what we will do is we will take them up here to the north. We'll take them towards the Canadian border. At least I hope we can take them to the freaking border because of this. Obviously, I don't know why they take the fucking hardest possible route. I don't know. They just do. And now that we have the Maxim machine guns, if we take Charleston, we can produce Maxim machine guns for heavy defense. Yes, that was the plan, my friends, was to pretty much hold out as much as we can. as much as we can to yeah, pretty much till we get the max of machine guns. Now the real thing now, the real test is, well, the real clock, I guess you could say, is how long until the Americans get the maximum machine gun, because the maximum machine guns are very rough. I think they're like 12 attack, 15 defense with bombard assist. So they just don't do flat damage, they do bombard damage alongside that defense damage, which does hurt a lot of the units, which is kind of why artillery and naval bombardment is very, very important. Because when troops have bombard, it's, it makes things a little harder to do, because that affects their defense, not really their offense, but their defense. So once we get that invasion force down here, we'll move them down to Charleston. We'll invade the South, and pretty much what you want to do is you want to strike at the underbelly. But at the same time, striking in the North kind of gives you an idea, gives you what you're up against. Not only that, you can gauge the power that they have right then and there, and you can use that to your advantage because you can fool the AI into really thinking that you're going for its northern cities, which are their heavily industrial cities. It's where all their iron is, it's where their coal is, it's where their oil is, it's where you can produce, the army that you need to fight against them, to use their own resources against them. Because their southern side isn't very industrial. It isn't. And that's true. They don't have the resources necessary to make that call. But if you could trick the AI into thinking that you're going for it's more heavy industry, it will reinforce that. And then you can attack the soft underbelly. Take the cities that have the industry that you need to produce more troops and to produce your heavy units and everything else, and you can just move just fine across. It is quite literally just how the process works. But that will be in the next episode. Our next wave of invasion will happen in probably the next episode, and we will close out this episode. So until the next time, my friends, peace out.